Good evening and welcome to Steve News. Tonight's top story: should your child study VCE Media Studies? We head out into the field to find out the benefits of learning about the media in schools and how the subject is being taught to your children. Over to you, Steve. Thanks, Steve. The VCE Media Studies curriculum provides students with creative skills and analytical skills. The media is a worldwide industry with a powerful influence on today's society. Media Studies in VCE equips students with the skills to be able to analyse and interpret different forms of media. Students will be encouraged to form opinions on media issues and develop their own values through an exploration of Western society. The 4 units of VCE Media guide students through representation and representation technologies, media production and the media industry, narrative and media production design, and also media process, influence, and society's values. Through these units, students will learn to use technical equipment such as cameras, editing software, sound recording devices, and lights. These technical skills are increasingly important in a society swamped with social media and video and photography content. The course aims to develop technical skills by engaging in practical activities that have real-world applications. Students will learn filmmaking skills by taking on specific roles within a team to create short films and other video-based productions. They will study existing films to gain an understanding of how films are made and how characters and situations are represented on screen. Students will also learn photography skills as well as radio skills, including an excursion to SYN, the Student Youth Network, which is a youth-run media organisation that has a 24-hour FM radio station completely dedicated to developing young media talent. SYN run workshops that teach young people how to create a radio show and broadcast on the air. VCE Media will teach your children incredibly valuable technical and analytical skills that can be applied professionally and in everyday life. Back to you, Steve. Thank you, Steve. Staying with this story, assessment plays a large part of the teaching and learning process. Steve is out in the field to take a look at how students in VCE Media are assessed and how their assessment can develop their media learning. Thanks, Steve. Assessment is a vital key to developing students' minds. But when we talk about assessment, we don't just mean the grades that students receive. We're talking about all the little ongoing assessments that teachers make in order to continue to develop students' learning. These formative assessments come in the form of teacher feedback and small ungraded tasks. In VCE Media, these assessments can be made during practical exercises where mistakes can be made and then corrected. Assessments will also be made during class through class dialogues to gauge students' understanding of the topic. We spoke to education author Rick Wormalley about this type of assessment.
Teachers tend to spend the majority of their time designing their summative assessments, as if that was the most important aspect. But really, it's formative assessment. That's the most important aspect. It has the greatest impact on student achievement, on feedback to the teacher, everything. The whole enterprise of teaching and learning really boils down to that formative assessment. Can kids learn without grades? Yeah. Can they learn without formative assessment and the feedback that comes from it? Not at all.
Students in VCE Media will be required to demonstrate their ability to analyse and interpret visual, audiovisual and text mediums, as well as create their own visual, audiovisual and text mediums. In order to do this, they will need to complete visual written assessment tasks, analytical assessment tasks, as well as practical filmmaking tasks and other production tasks. These major tasks will be graded to get an understanding of how well the students have learned throughout the course. Through the formative assessment approach, students will have every opportunity to develop their learning and achieve high marks on their final assessments. Back to you, Steve. Fantastic assessment of that situation, Steve. Moving on to the learning environment. Studies have shown that the learning environment is pivotal in student learning. People learn in different ways, and as such, the environment we learn in must be versatile and able to accommodate for different learning styles. Steve has more. I most certainly do, Steve. The classroom can be set up in all sorts of different ways to accommodate different learning styles and different learning activities. In VCE Media, there will be 4 main types of activities: group production work, individual analysis and individual production work, group discussions, and written assessment tasks. In this course, we work hard to create a high-functioning, team-oriented environment where students can learn from each other as much as from their teacher. The class will most often either be working in groups on creative projects or involved in class discussions or debates. When working on group projects, the class will be split into small clusters so students can collaborate within their groups and work towards their goals. When studying the issues within the media and analysing films and other media content, students will be seated in more of a horseshoe setup, enabling them to discuss the topics as a whole class. The teacher would guide these discussions to include every student while writing key terms and ideas on the whiteboard for those more visual learners. The ideas within these discussions could then be used to form debates with the class divided into teams and asked to put forward their case on a given issue. It is important that every student has their say because the media is all about having a voice in the world. We spoke with Dylan William about his thoughts on a collaborative learning environment.
Collaborative learning in the classroom works when you have group goals, so you have students working as a group rather than just working in a group, and individual accountability, so that every single student is individually accountable as well as collectively accountable, so you can't have any passengers. And there are many ways in which teachers can set up those two conditions, but if you can establish group goals with individual accountability, then the research evidence suggests that you can approximately double the speed of student learning.
It is important as media teachers that we get to know our students well, so this course has been developed to make sure that students get the opportunity to communicate with their teachers regularly. Teachers can then much more easily make formative assessments and give students strong and useful feedback to help with their learning development. Media is a fantastic avenue for developing well-rounded individuals with strong communication skills and an ability to work effectively in a team environment. Back to you, Steve. So why should your child study VCE Media? Well, in a growing digital world, the skills acquired in VCE Media are becoming increasingly more useful for a wide variety of career paths. The digital media profession requires employees to know and be able to use a number of digital editing programs, as well as digital video and still photography cameras. These skills are useful and highly sought after for jobs in the advertising profession, as well as marketing, journalism, digital design, and corporate media companies. Outside of the professional arena though, there are a plethora of real-world applications for the skills learned in media studies. Organisation, leadership, analysis, creativity, and teamwork are all integral aspects of filmmaking, media, and this course. The global phenomenon of social media means that the society is constantly swamped with all sorts of media and all kinds of agendas. Media studies provide students with the skills to be able to calculate and interpret the truth from the mess of information within the mass media. Now, more than ever, the importance of learning about media in schools is paramount for young people. This has been Steve News. Until next time.